LEGO hit us with a 1-2 holiday punch today by announcing two brand new holiday themed sets. The first one is the Winter Village Holiday Express Train, which is part of their Winter Village theme that they release every single year under the Icons theme. The other one is the Christmas tree decoration, which is a much larger and very interesting concept that LEGO's going with here. So these sets have quite a bit going on with them. We're going to unpack the strengths and the weaknesses, plus we are going to address the question of, is this a disappointing Christmas and holiday release wave for fans in 2025? Let's dive in. We're going to start with the Winter Village Holiday Express Train because it has been 9 years since LEGO released a train under this theme. Now, there are some strengths to the set as well as some weaknesses, so let's get into those. One of the strengths of this is the size. It's actually pretty similar to the 2016 version. It has 4 different sections: the engine, the coal cart, a fun display section that has a polar bear, and a passenger section. The polar bear, I think, is really well done. It's got a nice scarf, and if you'll notice, the head is tilted forward at an angle set in by some Technic pins, which a little mini weakness is that you can see the Technic pin from the side. I don't know if you're going to be able to move the head up or if it's just resting down like that and locked into place to get that particular angle. It looks like there are some printed elements as well. The 1x2 tile with the set number, as well as the Holiday Express macaroni tile might just be printed. I hope the macaroni tile is, because I hate putting stickers on curved pieces. There are also lots of little flourishes in the set. You've got plenty of red and green foliage. You've got a wreath on the coal cart, which is pretty common for what you see in holiday sets. The scarf on the polar bear is very nice, and this huge bow on the passenger cart. It's a very, very nice touch and is very festive as well. I like that they did something creative with this part of the set. This set comes with 4 minifigs, which actually might be a little bit on the light scale, so chalked it up as another mini weakness. But I do want to give a shout out to the train conductor, which has this beautiful gold vest and a pocket watch. I think it's a fantastic torso, and I did some searching to see if it was new. I couldn't tell if there was an existing torso like this already. Nothing came up in my search, but if it is an old torso or one that's been used before, put it down in the comments below. Now, I did address some of the mini weaknesses in the strengths, which just kind of happens the way this video is flowing, but there are some other weaknesses to this particular set. The first one is the train platform. I'm not sure what LEGO's doing here. It's very, very dinky. In fact, if you look at the Creator 3-in-1 Haunted House, which has a B or C model that's a train, the platform is more substantive on that than this set, which is designed to be a train and train platform. So that's really disappointing. Another weakness of this set is you have to motorize it on your own, which means you have to buy additional components to the set, which will add to the cost in order to have it just going around your trains. It is nice that we are getting 16 curved tracks, but another weakness is the lack of straight tracks. I know it might work around a Christmas display or a village, but I can tell you that if you have anything that's irregularly shaped, you want other types of tracks involved and not just curved. There is one element to this set that I'm actually unsure about. So we talked about strengths and weaknesses, but this 3D printed piece that LEGO's never done before is kind of interesting. It's fascinating, but at the same time, I'm not sure what I think about it. Right? I think within this 3D printed piece, there are some pros and cons, right? One of the positives to it is that you can get some pretty good detail on a small piece that is going to go beyond the dual molded pieces that we see so far. It also allows you to have some sort of playability with that piece. It says that if you move the piece, the wheels move and apparently the smoke goes up and down. That's kind of an interesting element to this. At the same time, it's 3D printed. I think it's system compatible, but is this LEGO cheating? Like, part of the beauty of LEGO is building different pieces. And I know a lot of fans like the pre-molded animals, others like building them. This is one of those situations where, well, LEGO's done a lot of little small brick-built train elements before. Why not do that here? But it is a test case, so I'm not going to cast a judgment on it at this point until I see it up close and personal, or I'm able to see other 3D printed pieces that LEGO comes out with. But again, I'm not entirely sure what to think about this. I know another element to this is the price. A lot of fans are disappointed with the price point on this because usually the Winter Village sets run around $100 US. This one is going to be $130 US, 120 euro, so a little bit more expensive here in the United States. And I gotta say, I don't have a huge problem with this. I know that this could price some people out of the market. We may not be getting this in part because of pricing and other things we want to buy, but the reality is there's about 1,000 pieces with 920 some odd pieces for $130, but you get the train tracks and that adds to the cost. If you go back to 2016, when the prior train came out, it was $100 US. Guess what? Add inflation to that and it comes out to $135. So I understand that the 130 is a little bit of an additional price point or higher price point than we're used to seeing for Winter Village sets. But if you add in inflation to the cost, as well as some of those tracks, $130 isn't unreasonable. Again, I understand why some people are frustrated with Lego pricing. Speaking of pricing, let's talk about the Christmas tree decoration, which is over 3,100 pieces, comes with 7 minifigs, and is going to cost $330 US or 300 euro. Now, this is a dollhouse style set, which has a lot of tree elements on the front and sides, but on the back is open so that you can play with different scenes and rooms within it. Like the train set, there are some strengths and weaknesses to this one, so let's dive into them. I do like the fact that Lego is touting this as a building together styled set. They have the 1 to 6 people on it, they have the build together logo, but I am uncertain as to whether you get enough instruction manuals broken out so that you can build this together without having to use the Lego building app. They do talk about it in the set description, the app in particular, so we'll see about that one. Another strength is the different segments to the build. You have different displays and playability within this set. Like at the base, there's a little train display, which I think is fun. At the next level, you have a very home-like feel. You've got Mrs. Claus, there's a kitchen, she's decorating cookies, there's a fireplace, you've got a place to come in and put your stuff down and enjoy some snacks. At the upper level, there is a command center for Santa Claus, full of the Santa computer and all these different gizmos and gadgets that allow the elves to monitor how Santa is distributing Christmas gifts on Christmas Eve. Now, the accessories in this set are crazy. There's a lot of little details here that I know different fans of different themes are going to like. First of all, there is a Santa sleigh mini build. Now, for a mini weakness, it's not as detailed or as nice as other sleighs that we have received in the past. Another positive, though, is the reindeer. It's one that we haven't seen for a couple of years, and I like this piece. I think it looks great, and it's nice that we get one for pulling Santa's sleigh. Another big plus are the Squishmallows, or as Lego calls them, the plush toys. You've got a reindeer, which is available in the Friends Advent calendar, as well as what appears to be a brand new snowman Squishmallow. For those of you that like classic space, you get a green space helmet and air tanks. Now, I think the helmet is available on Bricks and Pieces online. However, those of us in North America are unable to order those pieces at this moment in time as they sort out some of the tariff stuff that's going on here in the United States. But you do get the air tanks, which I believe is new. There is no classic space torso in green, but you do get a classic space ugly sweater. So if you like that, that's good. But I know fans might be a little disappointed you don't get the full ensemble in a set. For those of you who are Castle fans, guess what? You get a green helmet and a brand new shield. It's going to be a gift wrapped shield, which is kind of interesting. I like that piece. Of course, liking a couple of pieces doesn't make it worth purchasing the entire set, which brings us to some of the weaknesses. The number one weakness that I see with this is the price. I know that it's over 3,000 or 3,100 pieces and it's $330, 300 euro. And so the price per piece isn't terrible, but it's still a lot. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you take a look at the size and it's 13 inches wide, 18 inches tall. Doesn't seem quite that big for that kind of a price. For context, that's 3 inches wider than a modular building and about the same height, but it's 25 to 33% more expensive than the typical modular building that we see. Another weakness is the cat. I don't know what's going on with that cat. It looks kind of freaky. I like that it looks that you have a printed piece for the eyes and the nose, but I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that. I am not a fan. The next weakness that I see is the price. This is a lot of money for something that Lego advertises as, hey, put this out for a little bit of time, pack it up into a box, throw it up in the attic, pull it out a year from now and put it out again. Like, That's a lot of money for just a simple decoration. And I get it, you might want to take this apart and use the pieces for your collection, but Lego's not really billing it as that. Another weakness is the number of minifigs. Look, there's only 7 minifigs in this set. Usually you're going to see more minifigs for a set that has this price. And so, yeah, there might be some unique minifigs and torsos and all of that, but the number, not that impressive. Even if you take into account the reindeer, like that's still adding one minifig style piece to the set. It's still below average for something of this price, which brings me to my fifth and final weakness, which is the price. I just don't see this being worth $330 US or 320 euro. Again, I acknowledge that I haven't seen this in person and it's going to look bigger than we might think it is or more dense than we think it is. But there's a lot of small pieces in this, especially for the decorations, the ornaments on the tree, 1x1 round tiles, some of the small round balls that are included as ornaments. I don't see this being worth that much money. So is this a disappointing Christmas and holiday themed release year for LEGO? And honestly, I can understand why fans would be disappointed with it. Number one, the train is something that we've seen before. If you have collected LEGO and Winter Village sets for a long time, this is one of the few times we see a complete redo of a concept. The first time was when they redid the Winter Toy Shop a few years after the original Winter Toy Shop, which I know some fans like myself were disappointed that they didn't do something brand new. It has been 9 years, so I completely understand why LEGO is giving us a new Winter Village train. There are a lot of fans that started collecting LEGO during the COVID era, and this is an opportunity for them to get a holiday or Christmas themed train. It also wouldn't surprise me, just saying this, next year if we get a brand new Winter Village train station. So if you have the train station from, I think, 2017, be prepared to be disappointed in 2026 if they redo that one. So that could be disappointing for some fans. I do think, though, that this Winter Village Holiday Express train is executed fairly well. It has a very similar style to the old one, which again makes it disappointing for those of us that already have that set. But for those that don't have it, it's going to be a quality experience of building it and having it on display. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's great flourishes, a lot of festive components to that set. And so I think for what you're getting, it's very, very strong. The more disappointing one, I think, for a lot of people is the Christmas tree decoration. I'm not sure what LEGO's going for with this. I know that they want to increase the family style builds and have this sit down where, you build together as a family. But I think certain sets are going to work well for that, and LEGO has to really intentionally go after this. One thing that I'm uncertain about is whether you get multiple instruction manuals that will allow you to actually take different sections of the set and build them together as a family. I think that's an important part where you are unplugged, you're not looking at screens, you're talking to one another, you're looking for pieces together, you're building together. I mean, that's a part of it that the screens, I don't want the screen elements involved in that process. So I hope that there are instruction manuals there. But the big one, of course, is the price and the subjective value that comes with pricing, right? You can take a look at the price per piece ratio and it's not horrible. It's not great, but it's not as bad as other sets that we've seen this year. However, it's kind of hard to make the case that you should spend $330 US, 320 euro on something that's a pure decoration. And that's 13 inches wide, 18 inches tall. Like it feels like it's a very, very dense set with a lot of Technic pins and a lot of small pieces that might inflate that piece count. So I'm not entirely sure what to make of that one, but I can certainly understand why fans are disappointed. As for us, are we planning on getting either of these sets? Well, as I mentioned, we have the train. We pull it out every single year and play with it and set up a huge Winter Village display. So we're not going to be getting the train, and I don't see any reason to purchase the Christmas tree decoration set at all. In fact, I would say just wait till after Christmas. There's a good chance that one will go on sale. And if you're interested in getting the pieces, get a much better deal than what you're going to get leading up to Christmas this year for that particular set. So we're avoiding both of those. At this point, we may try to bricklink some of the pieces like that gift wrap shield. And I know Autumn, my youngest daughter, is going to be very excited about these Squishmallow pieces. But again, Bricklink rather than spending $330 for the entire set. So that is our breakdown of the 2 new Christmas and winter themed sets that LEGO has announced today. Are you planning on picking any of these up? Put it down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and always remember to keep building together.